Alright, Saints Nation, here we go. Game number 4 now underway. Saints really struggling in that last one, to say the least, after an early exit in the 20s. Falling themselves down into just outside the top 20. I believe 21st is currently where they are standing here in this PlayVS Fortnite Trios. And they need to get themselves to the top 15. And this is a long trek here for them to try and get their way back. That being said, though, one good game with a couple of the top players maybe have themselves a hard time. Could easily swing this one around. Saints are definitely going to have to work for it, however. Of course, yeah, just tune in, my name's Dan Banner, also known as Mr. Danner, as your host here for today's broadcast, and the producer here at the St. Clair Saints Varsity Esports team. And thank you for joining us here for some Fortnite action. Starting things off, Ciriuhs going to find himself the crossbow, a little bit of shields as well, and a very, very rough-looking shotgun, but of course still nice and early, and at least they have themselves full shields thanks to that transport truck. Laysix in a bit of a rough spot as well. Good thing for them, for him, there is no current threat in regards to an engagement. Does find an assault rifle though, so at least can hold his own now. And Juneyy's best thing right now is basically the harpoon, but that's not necessarily for a weapon. But there we go. Does find himself another one, so there we go. Thing's getting loaded up rather nicely. I think that was a shotgun, if I do recall correctly, but it could just be a personal preference based off of which one you want. And actually, I think that was an assault rifle, so never mind. He already has a better one, so fair enough. Loading on up. Juneyy in the past couple of rounds was definitely getting quite lucky in regards to how many first aid kits he was able to find, allowing the Saints to really play through the storm if they really wanted to, or just keep them all topped off if they didn't end up opting for an engagement of some sort. Let's take a look at the scene of the crime here. Let's take a look and see where we're about to get underway. Storm is in a pretty solid position here for the side of St. Clair, as they do not have to go very far in order to get into it. Just have to make their way over to Sweaty Sands. We do see Archer, Mandinka, and Rocky making a return to that area, but oddly enough, or maybe the other team just finally had enough. The other team that used to keep landing with them either are in a different lobby or opted to go to a different location after losing that last team fight. There are a couple of other teams nearby, and a possible engagement here with Shift, who was over in one of the early, or in that last game, he was up towards the end as well. Is there any sort of engagement? This is the team that actually took the Saints down. That's why I remember them, and they're already find themselves in an engagement. They're going to try and get things started, as we see Becker getting absolutely smashed in from like 3 separate angles. Where is his team? It doesn't seem like... Okay, they're over on the far side, but there's absolutely nothing they can do to save Becker. Becker is absolutely going to get taken down in this scenario. Unless he miraculously survives. We do see the reinforcements coming in to try and keep them alive. There's a knockdown. Shift going to find himself a kill. Juneyy as well, and sure enough, they do end up completely wiping that team. So the team that took care of St. Clair last time, starting off strong already. 1 kill for each of them, and starting off strong with 6 total points towards their score. Now, where are our Saints? They have currently started to make their way down here, it looks like, towards Holly Hedges, which they may not realize, but that's where Burrito and the squad have been pretty much this entire series. And they're going to be in for a collision course once again. Juneyy taking the low ground, Laysix up in the middle, Ciriuhs going to take the high ground. Basically try and fire from all levels, and Ciriuhs going to be the first one taking some heat. Does have that P90, but of course the submachine gun a little bit better for close range compared to far, so this is not exactly the prime opportunity to have that, but he does at least have his purple scar available. Laysix a couple shots. Where is Juneyy? Looking to possibly be the infiltrator, but he does get spotted out. He's going to have to make a run for it. Juneyy gonna heal up. Ciriuhs gonna pepper that building. Not quite gonna find anybody as of this moment anyway. Storm is on its way here. However, there is still a lot of time before it does make its way to where the Saints and the other squad are. Good shot here from Ciriuhs. Gonna tag them twice for about 50 damage. And what is this? Saints have to actually be extremely careful. Who is coming from behind here? We do see or we did have a sneaky player, it looks like, unless I'm absolutely losing it. I very well might be losing it. I could have sworn I had seen a yellow player here at one point, looking to possibly make a flank there onto the Saints, but it's not going to be the case. If anything, it looks like the blue team of Burrito and the squad over at Holly Hedges is going to make their way out. Opting for the engagement side of things. That being said, though, Laysix and Juneyy are still trying, but Juneyy is going to get absolutely smoked here by a crossbow shot, or a bow and arrow shot, rather. It's not quite a crossbow, but still good damage, nearly taking all of his shields down. Other team to the east here up against St. Clair as well. If they're not careful, it's going to be two teams actually, as we do have a team coming in hot from the south. Could mean trouble. Juney's out in the open, and is that team going to actually get to jump on him? No, they're actually going to opt to be more evasive than anything. So thankfully there for Juneyy and the Saints, not going to be another engagement, but actually a different engagement from a different team this time by... And they have a team behind them and in front of them. This is absolutely tough here for St. Clair, and this would be very brutal if they have themselves yet another rough round, to say the least, and let those teams get even further ahead than where they were. And they already have stinkfish arrows too, so they're going to be able to smoke them out. Ciriuhs absolutely in a world of hurt, going to try and take to the underground. Laysix at least hasn't been necessarily exposed. He's going to try and set up a healing station here for him and the team. Let's take a look and see exactly what kind of situation the Saints are in as the healing does go on forth. Right in front of them, one purple squad, and then right behind them coming through the edges, unless they have just left, would be another squad. Looking like they did end up moving, so at least Saints get an opportunity to breathe from what could have been an absolutely terrible situation. Said because of all the damage, they are going to be stuck taking some storm damage, but at least right now the storm doesn't necessarily do that much. Care package actually right to the northwestern side of the Saints' location, and it doesn't look like it's contested right now. They could maybe try to make a beeline for it to try and see if they can get themselves some additional healing materials. Or maybe load up with some crazier firepower. Sure enough, with nobody here, they're slowly making their way over. They find a car as well, which is going to make things just that much nicer here. Get everybody hopped in, have some sort of armor to go take care of this. Use as minimal resources as possible, and it's just going to be basically a resource package, and they do find the first aid meds, so all things considered, not necessarily the strongest support box there, or support crate for the Saints, but they're going to at least be able to get themselves a little upgrade of sorts. Saints moving towards the sweaty sands, as of right now unattended, but at the same time they're not going to be able to stay here for very long, as we do see further down the line up into the northeastern side is where the Saints have to go to get out of the wrath of the storm, and they're basically going to be getting Archer, Rocky, and that squad Um, Getting their sloppy seconds of sorts, considering that Sweaty Sands was already looted by them. That being said, still able to find some of the scraps and even just ammunition. May not seem like the biggest of deals, but can definitely still make or break your game later on in the run. We've seen multiple times during the regular season where one of the Saints would be low on assault rifle ammo, and that's kind of what you want to start tearing through buildings and such, so it can make things very difficult. Green 1X, one of the teams that are one of the players with Burrito was one of those teams right on the fringe, currently in 16th. And they're sure enough, speaking of Burrito, he is going to finish off the player, so it's going to be some more points to them as they do their trek towards the top 15, currently sitting at 16th. Shots from behind here on Ciriuhs. It's that yellow team from afar. They're going to try and make their way towards the safe zone as well. Shoot you from the front or shoot you from behind. Two teams making things a little bit difficult here for the Saints. That being said, though, the team from behind has to run from the storm. So if anything, it could be the Saints maybe looking for the opportunity to capitalize on some stragglers. Definitely hard to smoke that a dolphin diving player, but does tag him for at least a little bit of shield damage. And it looks like the Saints are actually all going to gather around and try to cut this team off. They want some elimination points, and I do not blame them. Got watch from the south, however. There's another team just on the outskirts of Pleasant Park looking to maybe intercept the Saints as well here. So, just gotta watch your step and whatnot. At least, thankfully here, a small saving grace here for St. Clair's that they do not have to move far for this next storm, so they can actually play a little bit aggressive or possibly look to fortify themselves. The past couple of games, they have not been able to do what they like to do, which is eventually find themselves on a point where the storm kind of gives them a break, and then they can actually move forward a little bit, build themselves a solid fort, and just sit in as best of a position as possible at the center of the storm until the point where the storm starts getting reckless, and you can just stay there and really get a lot of points just based off of survival. Now this makes things interesting though. That's 29 swerved, and Juneyy is going to knock him down, so solid job there from Juneyy. But this is the team, of course, that knocked the Saints out last time by, and Saints have them pinned in the storm. They are slowly but surely going to be eating up all their healing supplies as they are slowly taking damage over time. Juneyy, the forehead, goes down. Possible revenge kill here for the Saints if they can keep this one up. With two members down, there's just one more to go. 29 swerves has gone down. The one last player has been spotted. Juneyy calls it out. He's just going to keep on peppering him down. That player going to try to be the hero. He's leaving his team behind. They're looking for the finishing blow onto Juneyy, as well as taking some of their loot. Solid job there from Juneyy, considering he was the healthiest one. Has the first aid kits in hand as well. Takes care of Juneyy. And there's just one more player just to the north of the Saints' position. They have a rough idea of where they are. And with Juneyy finding himself a double kill, that is going to be a nice solid 4 points in the Saints' pocket. I'll give this player credit, however. Was able to be rather elusive for a little bit, but Laysix in theory should have just spotted him out. Juneyy on the hunt. That is Shift, the last player of that team. Sure, just trying to hang on as long as possible. Maybe see if you can snag another point or two just off of teams being eliminated before him. And there he goes. Juneyy spots him out. Good little shot on the shields, but he gets shot from behind. There are players just to the south as well. So now, Saints are the one kind of pinched in a little bit. But that being said, if they can just take care of Shift, they'll have at least their 6 in check. Ciri is going to find the finishing blow. So, okay, they do clean this up nice and quick. 6 points now. Here for Saints moving forward. Storm gets moving, but it's going to just move in again in just a second. And they're thinking about storm diving to go get some loot. Juneyy's just going to opt to harpoon some of these healing items over. Fair enough. Especially since you look like, say, Ciri's Lodo. Let's do a Lodo check, actually. Right now, Ciri had basically just a ham, and that was it in regards to healing. And Juneyy is going to need that, considering he's going through the storm. He does have a first aid kit, actually, so he's just going to top that off instead. And then Laysix has some solid artillery for close range. That being said, though, mid-range to long range, he is definitely going to struggle, but thankfully the end game is pretty well a close-range duel at all times. But he is going to be an absolute slayer if he can get himself into the proper position. Ciri may have tagged that one guy for 30, however, they come firing right back at him, and it's going to make things extremely difficult for the Saints to move in to this the storm. We got Nom, Burrito, Green 1X right there trying to cut off the Saints once again. Everybody makes it in, however, so with the chaos about to ensue, let's take a look and see who all made it into the safe zone, who's kind of on the outside looking in here. And who's closest to our Saints? The fishing duo nearby, as well as AP and Kapler finding themselves a couple as well. I mean, Saints, depending on where the storm moves next, aren't necessarily in a bad position. Definitely not comfortable, to say the least, though. Purple team we just saw move in was Raska and his team. One of the players that eliminated a couple of the leaders in the last round. Lots of shots being fired, including a kill there for Nom, so that's another one towards their quest for the 15th position. Green 1X finding one as well. And this is just unfortunate here. Saints in theory could be shooting at the same targets, trying to get the steals, but just getting jumped on prior to, so solid job there from the team below the Saints at this moment. And this storm is in the absolute worst case scenario here for St. Clair, all the way on the other side. The fishing duo going to find themselves a double kill alongside Aero CK, so that team, which has already been doing so strong and so good of a job, making things difficult here for the rest of the squad moving forward. Ciriuhs was about to get the jump onto a team, but he ends up getting jumped on himself as they try to make a move towards the storm, basically in the dead center of the safe zone, but it's going to start moving any second now, and that storm moves quick. We do see right on Laysix's tail, team, our player, right on it, ready to rock. And sure enough, it was definitely the case. They do manage to squeak themselves just barely into the safe zone, however, though we see Noms, Green 1X, all pushing forward on them as well. Gonna really make this submachine gun work for you now. Takes a lot of ammo to get through through buildings, but still a very high pressure gun, especially if that wall does fall. Getting so many bullets through can definitely make or break a battle. And then a slight moment of victory here for St. Clair as Burrito, Nom, and Green 1X were distracted by another player. As you see them run before, Burrito actually gets dropped here. Can the Saints capitalize? Green 1X does end up going down here. I believe that was one of our Saints that did take him out, but the Saints are kind of stuck in the storm here. They can't necessarily stay to finish the kill. They have to move, otherwise they are going to end up dropping due to the storm. That is going to be the kill credited over to Laysix, so he's going to get his first one this time by. Elite Connor still here, and that's a huge shotgun shot from the side. Laysix is going to fall. Saints are not going to be able to capitalize on this at all. Purple shotgun in hand, Purple Scar so low on ammunition. Saints are just not in fighting fit shape at all. They have to try and turtle, if anything, and just try to get some some points rather, just off of their position alone. And that is so hard considering the caliber of players we are seeing here in this Play versus Fortnite Trios playoffs. These heats have been absolutely insane. The fact that teams are just living so long. Because normally by this point in the regular season, we'd probably be down to our last 20 players or so with maybe like, I don't know, like say like 10 teams left or something like that. The fact that it's basically been double this entire series is just nuts. Not a lot of teams looking to play the short, go big or go home game. Always trying to just live as far as possible. For the Saints, Juneyy and Ciriuhs, the last hopes here for the squad. Kind of split up as of this moment. They're kind of forced to just play for themselves as of this moment. They do manage to get back up. However, we can really see things getting very messy. Juneyy literally 1 health remaining. Not going to be able to stay alive. Does end up going down. Ciriuhs looking for the refrag. He does find one. He does find Noms. Can he find some more? He is going to get the finishing blow onto Noms, so it does secure himself 2 points for sure. That being said, though, he does find one more, actually, onto Andy B out of nowhere. The teleportation is in our favor today, apparently. Eliminations-wise, a strong one now for the Saints. They've gotten themselves 6 elims as of right now. Make that a 7th. Jesse and Jack going down here to the shotgun of Ciriuhs, but he eventually gets caught out 1 shot too many and will get blasted. So Saints are going to be the 11th team, or place 11 here in this one. Much better than their last couple. That being said, though, let's take a look at the madness we see here. Let's see if we can see some familiar names. Dylan is fishing an arrow, still in this game. Elite Connor, one of these players in the top area as well of this game, or of this series. Lots of loot on the ground, lots of eliminations. This is getting messy and messy quickly. Dylan is fishing, I think, has gone down as well. That's one of your leaders for sure. Crazy gets taken down. Who else is here in this game? Uber, CJ, they're still here, split up, but making it work. 2 teams left to go, and I think that's actually going to be Victory Royale here for Goober if he can keep himself in this game. Only 1 other player left to go, and I think they just dropped with CJ and Goober Seb being here in the safe zone. Just a matter of dealing with Pinocchio, which is a solid run from him nonetheless, but he definitely has a tall task ahead of him here to try and deal with the 2 players. And that is going to be the finishing blow right there. Goofy Goober Seb going to take his team to a Victory Royale. Better run here this time for St. Clair overall. And overall, can't necessarily complain about that one. It worked out that they got a bunch of eliminations. Everybody got on the board, but Ciriuhs just went absolutely nuts with the shotgun at the end there, which is extremely interesting considering ammunition-wise, they had absolutely nothing really left in the tank going into the end there. Unless they got themselves the elimination, picked up their loot, and just made an absolute run for it. Either way, they managed to pull something out when it looked like it should not have been the case. So solid job there from our Saints squad. As we take a look once again at where this puts everybody. And it looks like we are going to move up a couple of positions. I'll show you exactly what it is I'm looking at right here, right now, in just a moment as I bait you with the starting soon screen. Let's try that again. There we go. Let's take a look. So this, of course, puts Ciriuhs, Laysix, and Juneyy at 109 points. And you can see the gap to 109, or from 19th to 15th, that is not a far gap. And to be fair, you get yourselves, like, say, 140 or something, or enough of a gap in this next game. You, in theory, like, one good game, you can go all the way up to 10th. And the fact that our Saints are just right there on the doorstep, again, just making me blow up my voice in excitement and making me have a heart attack as they are right on the edge with 2 games left to go. We're going to have ourselves a very quick break. Quick little water and bathroom break before we hop into game number 5 here. Saints again, they're clawing their way back. They're trying. They had themselves a solid one, but we need a couple more like that to finish off strong. Can they do it, or is their season going to end here? We'll find out shortly.